All right, it is the moment we've all been waiting for. I will now hand out the awards for the top 5 ads in the history of YouTube. Now, this is going to be a very important video for you to watch if you're serious about making money with YouTube advertising. Now, if you want to make money with YouTube advertising and you want to learn these skills, one part of that is going to be studying books and courses from experts, such as mine. But that's really only one part of it. The other part of it is going to be studying ads from the best advertisers out there on YouTube and analyzing those ads to try to figure out what principles and what techniques are making those ads work. Now, all of the ads I'm about to show you, you've probably seen before, probably many times. But if you're not an expert in YouTube advertising yourself, it can be a little bit difficult to tell what's going on in these ads, which is really making them effective. It's a little bit like watching a UFC fight if you're not really an expert in mixed martial arts. You just see a bunch of kicking and punching and choking, but you don't really know what the techniques are, which is making people so effective. So in this video, I want to be your expert analyst. I want to be your Joe Rogan to the UFC fight and break down exactly what made these ads effective so that way you can emulate these techniques in your own advertising. So I'm really excited to show these ads to you. Now, before we start in though, I just want to say I'm not showing you these ads so that way you can just copy these ads, change a few words around, and then make them your own. And that's for a couple different reasons. First of all, when you're doing that and you're just changing a few words around, it's not really going to work. Obviously, if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. Everybody would just find the best ads on YouTube and just change a few words around and make them their own. Every offer, every product, every business, and every person on camera is different. So you're going to have to adapt these concepts to your unique product and your unique business. The second reason why you shouldn't just copy these ads is that it's kind of a shitty thing to do. You're going to be establishing a reputation as someone who steals creativity in your industry. People aren't going to want to work with you, and it's just generally a bad idea. What you want to do instead is you want to analyze these ads and figure out the principles that are making them work. When you do that, you can apply it to your own ads and nobody will even know what the original ad is that you took these techniques from. So with that said, let's dive into it. All right, so number 5 on the list is the bad breath test by Orabrush. Now, this video was uploaded back in 2009, back in the early days of YouTube advertising, and it got 26 million views. A lot of the videos I'm about to show you later on this list got more views and probably made a lot more money for the businesses that ran them. But I included this on the list for a few different reasons. First of all, this ad was a pioneering ad. Back in 2009, YouTube advertising was just getting started, and people didn't really know how to do things like they do right now. What a lot of people were doing back then is they were just uploading TV commercials to YouTube. And I'm about to show you why in later videos, but that's a very, very bad idea. Orabrush was one of the pioneers of a lot of the techniques that made later YouTube ads effective, such as skip stoppers or the introductions to YouTube ads that prevent people from skipping the ad. A lot of other people emulated these techniques later on, and they were really the pioneers that blazed the trail. Another reason why I included Orabrush on this list is that they really dominated YouTube advertising back in the day. Back in 2009, YouTube was much smaller than it is today, and 26 million views meant that you were seeing this ad all the time. If you were on YouTube back in the time, you probably remember this ad. Here's another reason why I included this ad on the list. This ad generated millions of dollars in revenue, and probably hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And it was made with a very, very minimal bootstrapping budget. You can make an ad like this, including hiring an actor or a funny comedian to star in the ad for less than $500, and they made millions from it. And that's why I thought it was so remarkable. Now, not only did this ad make millions in sales directly, this ad also launched a nationally recognized brand. After this ad, you could find Orabrush in Walmart, in Target. It was doing big sales on Amazon. They had massive, massive retail distribution. So in my mind, this ad is an example of the best of both worlds, of both types of advertising. It was great brand advertising that built a nationally recognized brand, and it made sales directly. So that's another reason why I included it. And here's the final reason why I included it as number 5 on the list. This ad was remarkable because it made so much money selling an obscure, low-priced, low-profit margin product. So this ad made millions of dollars selling a little tongue scraper, which you can buy for $5, and they were probably only making $1 or $2 on each sale. So in my mind, that shows that the techniques that they use in this ad were very, very effective. If you apply these techniques to a product with a higher price, a higher profit margin, and which isn't as obscure and weird as a tongue scraper, it'll probably work even better. All right, so let's break it down. What can you learn from this ad that you can apply to your own advertising? The first thing that you can apply to your own advertising is the skip stopper, or the first 5 seconds of the ad, which they designed very strategically to prevent you from skipping the ad. Let's watch the first 5 seconds and let's analyze it.
Halitophobia, the irrational fear of bad breath. I'm a halitophobic.
Now, you can see from that what they did was really brilliant in a way, but also pretty subtle. The guy goes up to the camera, he breathes on what appears to be the camera lens, and then he wipes it off. Now, it's subtle, it's not outrageous, it's not over the top, but it really gets your attention, especially back when you were seeing mostly TV commercials on YouTube, which weren't designed to catch your attention in the first 5 seconds. It was unusual, it seemed person to person and not like a big corporation broadcasting to you, and it was very effective at getting a high view rate and ultimately getting people to watch the ad. So I want you to think about that. How can you design something like that to catch people's attention, not in 15 seconds, not in 10 seconds, but in the very first 5 seconds? Okay, so here's the second thing I want you to take away from this ad, that you can generate your own demand for your product. Now, ideally, you'll be selling a product where there's big pre-existing demand, where people already want it before you even start selling it. But let's say that you're forced to sell a product in an obscure product category that people don't even know that they really need, such as a tongue scraper. How can you get people to be aware that they even need this product? I want you to watch this next clip and see how Orabrush did it.
Now I know what you're asking. How do we know if we have bad breath? You use this. You use a spoon. Now I know what you're thinking. A spoon, you eat with a spoon, you play spoons. You spoon your girlfriend. You take the spoon, you take the spoon and you stick it at the back of your tongue and gently scrape. Let it dry and take a whiff. If it stinks, your breath stinks. And if your breath stinks, this is the only kind of spooning you're gonna be getting.
So, this was brilliant in my opinion. A lot of people with bad breath are not aware that they even have this problem, and the bad breath test was a simple but effective way of making them aware of this problem that they have. Once somebody is aware of this problem of bad breath, then it's very easy to sell them a solution. After that, the ad goes on to talk about how breath mints or even brushing your teeth is really just covering up the problem, and the real cause of bad breath is the bacteria that live on your tongue. From there, it's a very easy sale to sell you the tongue scraper, which gets to the source, removes this bacteria, and gives you better breath. So that's another great technique which I want you to take away from this Orabrush ad. Number 4 on our list is Mike Chang eating like a pig. This video was uploaded back in 2014 and it has 23 million views. Now, I am tooting my own horn a little bit with this one. This was an ad that I wrote myself and that my former company made. This wasn't the most viewed ad or even the most profitable ad that we ever made, but I'm including it on the list for a few reasons. First of all, like the Orabrush ad, this ad was made with a very, very minimal budget. Basically just one guy filming it, Mike Chang in front of the camera, and a bunch of food, and that was it. Less than $500, you can make an ad in the same style. The other reason why I decided to include this ad on the list was that this ad really launched our company to the next level. Back before this ad, we weren't that well known. We basically had one product and one supplement, and we were a much, much smaller company. This ad not only generated a lot of sales for our workout course directly, it really launched our company to the next level. And we later went on to make other ads with higher production value, which got more views and which made more money from the company. But at that point, it was much, much easier because we were already established and we already had a brand that people recognized. So here's what I want you to take away from this ad. Once again, I want you to look at the first 5 seconds, or as I call it, the skip stopper.
Hey man, I got something to tell you that might shock you. So most people think that I eat salads all day, I'm starving myself to maintain abs. But in reality, I actually eat like a pig.
Again, this skip stopper, it wasn't over the top, it wasn't outrageous, but this got an incredible, incredible view rate and was very effective for getting people to watch the ad. Like the Orabrush ad, it was unusual. It wasn't like the typical ad you were seeing on YouTube, especially back at that time. And I found out later from doing different versions of this ad that Mike Chang's performance on camera was a very big key to making this ad work. Most of the time when you see an ad on YouTube, it's very formal, it's very corporate, it's very scripted, somebody reading the teleprompter. In this ad though, it was totally different. You could see Mike Chang eating as he was starting the ad, and not only was he eating, he was smacking his food very loudly, as he always does. We got a lot of complaints about this ad. A lot of people said it was very annoying, but at the same time, it kind of interrupted the pattern that people were in of skipping ads. It was very unusual, it was totally different than anything they've seen, and it was successful at getting people to watch the ad. Now, here's another thing I want you to take away from this ad. Not listening to haters. Not only was this one of the most successful ads that we've ever made, but this was by far the most hated ad that we got the most negative feedback on of any ad that we ever made for sixpackabs.com. Now, people didn't so much object to the message of the ad, which is actually a pretty standard fitness message. What they really objected to was the smacking. We got, at the height of it, like 50 to 100 emails or YouTube comments every day talking about how annoying this smacking was. But fortunately, even though some people in our company suggested it, we did not pull this ad and we just kept running it. And I want you to learn from that too. Now, let's say if somebody is saying that your product isn't effective, if they're not getting the results that you're promising, you need to listen to that type of feedback. If you don't listen, then people aren't going to be satisfied, they're going to want a refund, and they're not going to buy from you again. So that's the type of negative feedback that you need to listen to. But let's say that everybody loves your product and that everything you're saying in your marketing message is ultimately truthful. If people are saying that some of your marketing techniques are annoying, in my opinion, you should ignore that feedback if you're selling a good product in the end and if you're helping people in the end. Now, here's the final thing I want you to take away from this ad. Making a big promise and then fleshing it out. In the 15 steps, I talk about what's called the master formula, or a formula that almost all successful ads on YouTube follow. And this was one ad that followed the master formula. A part of the master formula is making what's called the big promise, or a promise which is believable, but which at the same time gives someone an incentive to watch the rest of your ad beyond just that first 5 seconds where you just quickly caught their attention. In this ad, the big promise was that you can eat like a pig and get six-pack abs. Now, when you first hear that, it catches your attention, but it's not really extremely believable or credible when you first hear that promise. So in order to flesh that out and to make that promise believable, later in the ad, we went on to give more details about exactly what that means. So you can eat like a pig and get six-pack abs, but you have to be eating at least 80% healthy food, is the ultimate message that we say. Not only that, you also have to be doing hard workouts 4 to 5 times per week. Once we flesh that promise out a little bit, it's much more realistic and it's much more believable. But yet it's still a good promise because our way of doing it was, in a way, a shortcut or a way of doing it with less workout time and when you could still occasionally enjoy some junk food. So that's what I mean by making a big promise and then fleshing it out. Make that big, aggressive promise, even if it seems not realistic at first, but then flesh it out so that it is truthful and it is realistic. All right, number 3 on the list is Here in My Garage by Ty Lopez. This ad was uploaded back in 2015 and it has 70 million views. And I included this ad on the list for a few different reasons. First of all, like the other ads on the list, this ad was made very cheaply. A little bit more expensive than the other ads, but you could make an ad like this, including renting a Lamborghini, for probably about $1,000 or $1,500. And it obviously generated tens of millions or maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Another reason why I included this ad on the list is that it shows the power of a visual skip stopper, or a visual hook in the first 5 seconds that gets people to watch your ad. Now, writing a great ad script is important, but it's not all about your script. It's also about your props and the way that you film your ad. In this ad, you can see that Ty is not saying anything really unusual in the first 5 seconds of the ad. Instead, what really catches your attention is the Lamborghini in the background. And that shows that if you have the right prop, or even the right special effects in the first 5 seconds, that can be very effective at catching attention. Now, the final reason why I included this ad on the list is that this ad really took Ty Lopez's brand to the next level. I'd actually met Ty Lopez before he made this ad, and he was just kind of an obscure guy who owned a few dating sites, had a few other online businesses, but this ad really made him a little bit of an internet celebrity. This ad launched the other ads that he made later on. It kind of blazed the trail, so that way it was easy for him to get ads with millions of views later on. Not only that, this ad launched an army of copycat ads. You could probably see dozens of different people making ads with Lamborghinis now, and because of that, that really only helped Ty and established him as the original for this type of advertising. This ad also launched a ton of memes and videos making fun of Ty Lopez. He probably got 10 or 20 or 30 million additional views that he didn't pay for just off people making parodies of his ad or memes or copies of the ad or other things like that. Now that's really important too, because although it might have hurt his feelings a little bit when he saw it, that's tens of millions of views of people being introduced to the brand who otherwise never would have seen it. And not only that, of those tens of millions of views, some of those people went on to buy his product, and he didn't pay for those views. So it made the ad even more profitable. So here's the first thing I want you to take away from this ad: the power of a visual skip stopper. Let's watch it.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
Knowledge. All right, so you saw that right there, dropping the knowledge. You can see it's very attention-getting because of the unusual way that this video is filmed. You can see the whole thing is done with a selfie stick. Terrible production value, shaky camera like crazy, but the combination of that with the Lamborghini in the background is very unusual, and it was very effective at catching the viewer's attention. Here's the next thing I want you to take away from this ad: the power of minimal production value when combined with marquee talent and someone who is great on camera. Now, if you're just first starting off with YouTube advertising, I would not recommend that you film your first ad like this. You can film an ad like this just with a selfie stick, just holding your phone just like that, and sometimes it can work. For your very first ad though, it's a little bit easier if you do it off a teleprompter and you have a script that you're working off. Now, let's say though you're an advanced marketer and you're working with marquee talent, someone who can just go off the cuff and do a great job. In that case, doing an ad like this can actually be a really, really great thing to try out. If you have that type of basic production value combined with amazing talent on camera, it can sometimes work very well. Now, here's the final thing I want you to take away from this ad: the transition from the skip stopper, or the gimmick that he used in the beginning to catch your attention, to the big promise of the ad, or the deeper thing that he's promising you, which gets you to make a bigger commitment to spend 4 or 5 minutes watching the remainder of the ad. Let's check it out.
Knowledge. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of these 7 new bookshelves that I had to get installed to hold 2,000 new books that I bought. It's like the billionaire Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn.
All right, how do you like that knowledge? So you can see here, it seems a little strange to have a bookshelf in your garage, but obviously it was very effective for the ad. For Ty to just pan around and then on the side of him is a bookshelf right there makes the connection between the Lamborghini and how he got the Lamborghini. Ultimately, the product that Ty is selling in this ad is called the 67 Steps, is basically a summary of 67 different books. And you can see that this makes the transition smooth. He has the Lamborghini, the way he got the Lamborghini was the knowledge in the books, and now what he's selling you is the shortcut to getting the knowledge on this bookshelf without having to read all the books yourself. So I want you to think about this for your own advertising. How can you make a smooth transition between the skip stopper, or the gimmick that you use in the beginning to catch people's attention, and the big promise, or the benefit that you're promising people that gets them to make a bigger commitment to watching their ad? What's your equivalent of the bookshelf in your ads? Think about it. Number 2 greatest ad in the history of YouTube is Enhance Your Writing by Grammarly. Now, this is the only corporate style ad that I've included on the list, but I included this on the list for a couple different reasons. First of all, this ad, I believe, may be the most viewed ad ever in the history of YouTube. 550 million views. And this ad is still going today. All said and done, it is possible that this ad could get 1 billion views. This could become the Gangnam Style of YouTube ads. So really, really remarkable that they're able to get this many views, and it really shows you something, and it shows you that what they're doing in this ad is very effective. Here's the other reason why I included this ad on the list. The production value on this ad is a little bit higher than the other ads that I included, but it's still pretty basic. This ad could probably be filmed for $2,000 or $3,000 start to finish. Not only that, but this ad does not rely on marquee talent like some of the other ads on this list do. Now, I was able to make lots of hit ads, but I had the advantage of working with excellent on-camera talent. Mike Chang was excellent on camera. The other trainers that we worked with were also excellent on camera. So I had that advantage going for me. Tai Lopez, same thing. A lot of it comes down to his individual performance. This ad was remarkable because this ad stars random actors that you have never heard of before who are probably only paid a few $100s for reading this script. Now, this shows that the scripting and the planning of this ad was very, very effective. And you can use the same style of production to make your own ads with random actors that nobody has heard of before, and it may be very effective for you as well. All right, so let's go through and watch a few seconds of this ad.
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day, and Grammarly makes my writing better.
As a student, I like that it's free.
It actually is correcting everything as I'm writing it.
Grammar errors, spelling errors, and even helps me find the right words to use so I can say what I want to say.
All right, so the first thing I want you to take away from this ad is the format. This format, I feel, is a very underrated way of making ads, and it can be very, very effective if you apply it to your own advertising. Basically, all they did is they hired 5, 6, 7 different actors, had them all read the same script, and then they had a skilled editor go through and determine which actor did which part of the script the best. Now, this does rely on a skilled editor who has some understanding of marketing, who understands which actor did which part of the script the best. But it's super simple. All you do is you have 5 different actors read the same exact script, edit the best parts that they all did together, and then you have an ad like this, which appears to be for many different people. This could be applied to your advertising, and it could be very successful. Now, here's the next thing I want you to take away from this ad: the power of testimonials. Sometimes marquee talent, a superstar on camera, is going to be the way to go. But many times, just having stories from customers or people who got results from the product, everyday people who are like the viewer, can actually be even more effective. Testimonials, in my opinion, are a little bit of an underrated advertising technique because people don't know how to film and edit good testimonials. Once you know how to do it, though, it can be incredibly effective. So I encourage you to incorporate more testimonials in your ads. Now, here's the last thing I want you to take away from this ad. These are not even real testimonials. These are actor portrayals. Now, I think Grammarly did a very good job with this. You can see from the screen right now, they clearly disclose at the bottom of the screen these aren't real customers, and this is an actor portrayal. Nevertheless, even though everybody knows that these are actors from the beginning of the ads, it was very effective because they simulated testimonials. You can do the same thing ethically in your own ads. You can have actors portray simulated testimonials. In my opinion, the best way to do this is to get real testimonials. If you have customers that are good on camera, you can have them just do it directly. Or if you have customers that aren't that good on camera, you can have actors reenact their testimonials with permission. That way you can say, these are real testimonials reenacted by an actor. You kind of get the best of both worlds. You get a polished delivery, just like Grammarly had here, and you can also say these are real testimonials. All right, so before I reveal the #1 greatest ad in the history of YouTube, I gotta give an honorable mention, and that is the raw egg test by Purple. This ad was uploaded in 2016, and it has 187 million views. Now, the reason why I didn't include this on the list is that I've already included 2 ads from the Harmon Brothers ad agency. I didn't want them to be taking over the entire list. But this is a fantastic ad, a lot of great things you can learn from this ad, so I encourage you to go give it a watch if you have some extra time. All right, the #1 greatest ad in the history of YouTube is "This Unicorn Changed the Way I Poop" by Squatty Potty. I know you've seen it before. This ad was uploaded back in 2015, and it has 38 million views. Now, the reason why I think this ad is the greatest ad ever produced in the history of YouTube isn't so much what they did with the production or the views or the direct sales that they made. Although obviously all those were great, they made millions of views and they made millions and millions of dollars off this ad. The reason why I think that this is the best ad in the history of YouTube was that this is by far the most shared, the most talked about, the most viral ad in the history of YouTube. And that's important for a couple different reasons. First of all, when people are sharing your ad, when people are talking about your ad, it really takes your brand to the next level. And it has great effects for your company beyond just driving sales directly. You can see this with Squatty Potty. Before they ran this ad, they were an obscure toilet stool company. How boring and how obscure can you get? Now Squatty Potty is one of the most recognized brands in the country. You can find it in Walmart, many different retail stores. They've got tremendous retail distribution, and it's all because of this ad that started everything off. Not only that, keep in mind that when people share your ad, when people voluntarily watch your ad and send it to your friends, you're not paying for those views. Now, this tremendously increases your profit margins from your ads if you're getting many free views that you don't have to pay YouTube for. And then the final reason why I included this ad and why it made it the #1 greatest ad in the history of YouTube is that this ad was in an obscure, low profit, disgusting, challenging market. Now, if you're in a better market, that means that if you apply the techniques in this ad to your videos, it'll probably work even better. Toilet stools are not only an obscure product that people aren't really aware that they need, they're the type of product that's inherently disgusting to talk about why there is a need for them. As you're about to see, Squatty Potty solved that problem in an amazing way. What I want you to take away from this ad is, once again, the skip stopper. Let's watch through the beginning of this ad.
This is where your ice cream comes from. The creamy poop of a mystic unicorn. Totally clean, totally cool, and soft served straight from a sphincter. They're good at pooping. But you know who sucks at pooping? You do.
So, in my opinion, that was an absolutely brilliant way to start off the ad. It's funny, but it also is disgusting, but in kind of a family-friendly way. It's funny and disgusting at the same time. It's kid-friendly. It's everything that you could want in your skip stopper. If you can craft something like this that's funny, which catches people's attention, it can be very, very effective. Now, using humor in your ads can be a very, very powerful technique. But I don't recommend that you start off by using this technique if you're new to YouTube advertising. Now, I've tried using humor in a few ads in the past, and it hasn't worked out that well for me. But I know for Harmon Brothers and for a few other people, they've used humor very effectively. Now, humor isn't recommended for beginning advertisers, but let's say that you're an advanced YouTube advertiser. You've already had a few successful ads. I encourage you to try out an ad with humor. And Harmon Brothers talks about the way they developed the ad a little bit in this book. What they did is they didn't have a marketer like me or like you write the ad. What they did is they got input from a professional comedian. And that's why this ad is genuinely funny. If you want to try a funny ad, first of all, I would just want to make sure you're an advanced marketer. It's appropriate for you. And second of all, if you do this, hire a professional comedian like the Harmon Brothers did to make sure your ad is genuinely funny. Here's the final technique I want you to take away from this ad: the power of an animated visual demonstration. Now, some products can just be demonstrated straight up, and that can be very powerful to have an on-camera demonstration of exactly how effective your product is that the prospect can see with their own eyes. Now, with the Squatty Potty, it's the type of thing where you can't really show the actual visual demonstration itself. For those of you guys who don't know, the Squatty Potty is essentially a toilet stool that elevates your knees while you're taking a dump. Now, they could have shown an X-ray video, or even worse, a person like actually trying to take a dump and like shown how much easier it is with the Squatty Potty. But for obvious reasons, that wouldn't really be effective. It'd be too disgusting. It would just be horrible to show that on camera. But they solved this problem really, really well. Let's watch this and see how they did it.
That's because when you sit on a porcelain throne, this muscle puts a kink in the hose and stops the Ben and Jerry's from sliding out smoothly. Is that a problem? I don't know, are hemorrhoids a problem? Because sitting at this angle can cause hemorrhoids, bloating, constipation, and a buttload of other crap. And seriously, unicorn hemorrhoids? The glitter gets everywhere. But what happens when you go from a sit to a squat? Voila! This muscle relaxes and that kink goes away faster than Pegasus laying sweet sherbet dookie. Now your colon's open and ready for battle. That's because our bodies were made to poop in a squat, and now there's a product that lets you squat in your own home. Introducing the Squatty Potty.
Okay, so you can see the way they did that was brilliant. It's funny, but it also demonstrates the benefits of their product in a way that you couldn't do with, say, like an X-ray demonstration or something that wasn't funny and more technical. So if you have a product like this, which can't be visually demonstrated on camera, think about animation. You could apply the same technique and it could make you a lot of money. All right, so there you have it. Those were the top 5 greatest ads in the history of YouTube. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this list. Or if there's any other ads that you think I should check out or potentially include on future lists, leave the link down below. I'll make sure to check them out and I'll respond to as many comments as I can. And if you want to learn more about how to build profitable YouTube advertising campaigns, I encourage you to check out my book, The 15 Steps to Profitable YouTube Marketing. In my book, I break down many different ads like this and I show you exactly what's making them more effective. I give you my best ad scripting formulas that you can plug your content into so that way you can make effective ads like the ones on this list. I also walk you through how to manage your ads on Google Ads, how to build an effective YouTube sales website, and everything you need to know to build money-making YouTube ad campaigns. So check it out at the link below. It's called The 15 Steps to Profitable YouTube Marketing, and you can get it for free on my website. See you there.